Hey guys, welcome back to Just Tucking Around. Today I'm once again joined by Anthony Sousa. This is a new segment
Mm.
we're doing called Monday Movie Night. And basically, every Monday, we're going to talk about a new movie. So at the end of this episode, we'll announce what movie we'll be doing next Monday. And hopefully, this is something we could just do every week and have a lot of fun. So, Anthony told me about this movie he's been watching recently called The Social Network. And he had watched it a number of times.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what better one to start with than that? So without further ado, let's discuss.
Yeah, I've heard about the dude, I was literally thinking like, man, I should have like Jesse Eisenberg or something behind me, but I had no clue how to like get that together. That's mad funny. I love that. No, yeah, I've heard about this movie for years actually, and I never really wanted to watch it because people said it was about Facebook. But once I watched it, I realized that it really wasn't about Facebook.
Right.
Like it has the element of like Facebook in it, but it's mostly like about like friendship and like loyalty and like
Mm-hmm.
the acts of like revenge and like how success just kind of like takes over and stuff.
Absolutely.
So like
Yeah.
once I watched it for the first time like last week, like rewatched it again today to just like refresh.
Mm-hmm.
Today was like my third or fourth time just watch. I just can't stop watching it. Like
It's so
it's
good.
it's too good.
So for everyone who's never seen it or needs a little refresher, The Social Network was released in 2010. It was directed by David Fincher, and the screenplay was written by Aaron Sorkin. And it stars Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, Justin Timberlake, and yeah, so it's got a
Armie Hammer
star,
too.
Armie Hammer too. So it's got a great cast, great writer, and great director. So it's a recipe for greatness.
Yeah, even it won an Oscar for best screenplay or best original screenplay, I think, because it was based off a book. It was like something for billionaires. I'm not sure what the book was, but it also got Jesse Eisenberg got nominated for best actor, but he didn't win.
Yep. So we both took some notes, and why don't we just start off with that opening scene?
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that opening scene?
it kind of sets the tone for the whole movie.
Right.
It gives us uh kind of an example, or like kind of shows us how the dialogue is going to be the whole movie. Like even before we see where they are or anything, like it shows Columbia Pictures, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You start hearing their conversation and you're like, oh, like what am I missing?
Right.
You start paying attention, and like uh they're in like a crowded bar and it's really loud and stuff, and Jesse Eisenberg and Erica are speaking really fast to each other, and you're just like trying to like keep up with what they're saying, and it kind of like drags you into it more than most dialogues in films. Like it's really interesting.
Absolutely. And one of the things that they bring up is he's like discussing like the final club he's trying to join, like
Yeah.
all the different ones. And part of what he talks about is like the exclusivity of it. And
Hmm.
then that's one of the themes throughout the entire movie is
Yeah.
exclusivity. Who's
Yeah.
allowed in what places. But that's part of what basically Facebook becomes is like you need to allow someone to be your friend on Facebook, and it's all about that exclusivity. Him going
Yeah.
up in the ranks of like with money and the type of people he's hanging around with. That's a major factor, and you see that right from the beginning.
Yeah.
One of the
And it
things I have in the notes is that the script is like so tight. Like there's everything has meaning in it. It's like every single line is like should be there for
hmm
for the story to make sense.
yeah.
It's perfect. There's no fluff, basically.
It's crazy how one of the first things he says is how like more people in China have like genius IQs than anywhere else in the world. And then he starts talking about how like how can you distinguish yourself in a group
Right.
of people that all got 1600s on their SATs? And then she goes, wait, people in China take the SATs? And he's like, no, I'm talking about me. Like his brain just moves in a way that like you can't really keep up with. And with Erica, like we're basically Erica in this like scene. Like we're trying to like keep up with him. And I thought that was really cool.
Right.
and he starts talking about how like he could either join finals club or be in a show choir or like row.
Mm-hmm.
Then Erica picks out how like she likes guys that can row, and he goes back and says that, yeah, I did get 1600 on my SATs, just so like show
Yeah,
like
like,
I'm kind of cool, like
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
And he
yeah.
gets offended too when she asks which finals club is the easiest to get into. And I thought that was interesting because once he starts getting mad at her and like she isn't really like keeping up with his conversation, he starts calling her like delusional and like all this stuff, and it kind of pisses her off.
Right. And one of the things that happens is we don't know how long he's been seeing this girl, but it seems like it's not their
Hmm.
first time. They've hung out before.
No, yeah,
It seems like they were boyfriend girlfriend or something to that extent, and they end up breaking up during this because he's just she calls him and he is an asshole during this
yeah,
whole conversation. I mean,
yeah,
really, and so he basically goes back to his dorm and just starts writing like I think he calls it Facebook at the time or the Facebook at the time, but it's not
face mash.
really. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, face mat.
he writes on his blog
Yeah,
all
this
about
blog. Yeah.
talks trash about Erica and how she has a, what is it? She says she has a B cup, but it's like no, she just has a C cup, but it's more like a B cup and
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like he just trashes her, and
And then he starts making the software for where people can just rank girls. And one of the
because he
things,
saw someone posted on his blog talking about how if we could rank girls and see if they're prettier than farm animals, and he thought that idea
yes.
was cool, but he just did it with girls
And did
on
you
girls.
notice when they were talking when as they were saying this, they were showing like footage of like what was going on the campus at the time, calling
Yeah,
when they were saying, oh, comparing them to like farm animals, and in your head like, oh my god, they're like objectifying women, and then it shows the clips of
yeah,
them getting lined up, going into clubs, taking off their
hmm,
clothes, and you're like, oh my god, like they're doing it, like it's showing like
exactly.
the duality at the same time. I thought that was
Yeah,
sick.
I had that written down too. It was perfect because you start thinking like you already think that he's an asshole, and then he
Right.
starts doing this, and you're like, oh fuck, like this guy's just a complete asshole. But then you start seeing that girls start objectifying themselves just because it's like a Phoenix club. Like the
Hmm.
exclusivity of that club is like insane, and like you literally they wait outside with like no jackets or anything, like in skirts, waiting to see
Hmm.
if they can even get into the club. And when they do, all they do is take off their clothes just so guys can notice them and shit. Like
Right.
it's crazy.
um so then we get introduced to Andrew Garfield's character,
Yeah, Eduardo
and
Saverin,
he's trying to join one of these clubs, and
the
that's
Phoenix
just
Club.
another whole side of the exclusivity thing too, where I don't know if Mark's jealous that he can't get in, but because he's trying to play it off like he doesn't really care, but
Hmm.
it's just
It's
something. Yeah.
it's interesting that when we first see it, they call him Wardo in the movie. When we first
Yep.
see Wardo in the movie, he comes at the expense of seeing like how he wrote about Eric on his blog and how they broke up and stuff. So he comes to Mark as a friend, like, oh, like,
Right.
do you need help? And he's like, yeah, I do need help. Like, I need that algorithm.
Right.
And I noticed how every conversation that they've had in that movie is Mark needing something from
From
Wardo, and
Wardo.
it's never really like a friendship. It's more like Mark is kind of using him, and Wardo sees it as a friendship, which I
And
thought was
then
interesting.
that is basically the same relationship but reversed of when he meets
Sean Parker,
Sean Parker, Justin Timberlake's character,
yeah,
who was the founder of Napster at the time. And I love how we're introduced to his character when he's in the dorm room with that girl.
yeah, at Stanford,
Yep. Because
yeah,
just before that they say, oh, we need to we need to move Facebook to Stanford, and they're like, why Stanford? Next scene, Justin
Sean
Timberlake's
Parker.
waking up. Sean Parker's waking up in Stanford.
Yeah, no, that was good. I was wondering when he was gonna get into the movie because that was already like halfway in.
Yeah, we're like an hour in. I'm like, is
Yeah.
that Justin Timberlake was in this?
No, but I love how the story. Um, Actually, let me get back to this point. On his blog, when he talks about Erica and stuff, and it shows how mean and like an asshole he can be.
Mhm.
It kind of shows what doesn't really show the limit he'll go to when someone wrongs him, but where he can go to where he thinks that someone wrongs him. And it kind of shows like we think that his actions later in the movie when he kind of wrongs Wardo, we think that it's kind of like out of left field, but we literally saw with the smallest things that Mark thinks that is wrong in his eyes can really like push him to the limit, and shows how like what Wardo did, which was basically nothing compared to what Mark was doing the whole movie to him, kind of pushed him over the edge to like take him out of the company and stuff. But that's far into the future. I like how the story from the first like 20 minutes is just all like flashback. We don't really know it's a flashback until we get cut into like the lawsuits. And the first lawsuit we see is like Wardo, and they're just like talking about everything from start to the end. So we always get cuts of like those conversations when they're in the future. Right.
And they did a great job of going back and forth without making it too confusing. Like you can follow it right along. And yeah, so I thought the timing of that was like perfect, like where they chose to go forward and then like back to like the days at Harvard. I thought that was a really good job of that. One of the things I had in my notes was you find yourself like empathizing with almost every character. Like you feel for them all, but you don't really like, I don't know if you really have like a true like protagonist really, because you see like the dark side and good side of like everyone in it. So there's not like, I don't know, like you see both sides of every character rather than like, because part of you wants Mark to succeed and you know he will, and then the other part is like, but he is kind of an asshole to everyone.
Yeah. And it's like with Wardo, all he wants to do is start creating money for the business and everything. That's why he wants to add ads and stuff, which like it seemed like a smart idea, but with Mark just saying like, if we end the party at 11 by adding ads and stuff, like it'll make people not want to be on the website, which is
people want to be on Facebook. He said people want to be on Facebook because it's cool. People want to be at the party because it's cool. If you're in the party at 11, it's not cool anymore. As soon as you have pop-up ads for Mountain Dew or whatever on Facebook, you're not going to want to be on it anymore. Then people will just go find another place.
Yeah. I thought it was cool that with like Wardo and stuff. I feel like you said how we all see the good and bad in them, but I feel like Wardo to me is the most likable character.
Yeah,
like,
I think so too.
He doesn't really do a lot for you to hate him. I don't think he does anything for you to really hate him. I think the only really bad thing he does is when he takes his like account away from Mark and Facebook because that confrontation that he had when
it's kind of like a backstabbing moment.
Yeah.
Also, his girlfriend, played by Brenda Song, is a psychopath.
She was psycho, dude. That came out of nowhere. Oh my god.
All of a sudden, he's in New York. Hey, babe, I got you a gift. It's a scarf. Have you ever seen me wear a scarf? No.
First.
Yeah, and then she lights it on fire, and then she goes, "Have you seen my 47 text messages?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I thought that was crazy. Totally normal. Stop mocking me." Yeah, she was crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen her like that. I mean, I've only seen her in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah, for real. I didn't even know she was in it until I saw her.
Yeah, me neither.
That's Brenda Song.
But I have a question actually.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Mark decided back when he first involved Eduardo to his Facebook idea that he was going to betray him because of the whole Phoenix Club?
I think he only saw him as a tool rather than like as a part of the team. Like he knew that he had money and he knew that he could use him, but he never really like truly like invited him in. And I don't know, like one of the things Eduardo brings up, I don't know if it was actually what Mark was thinking, but he was like, it bothers you that I'm listed as a co-founder. Like when there's news going around, like you're almost ashamed that I'm a co-founder. Like, and I really am. So then he goes like, when his percentage of the company goes down, he's like, I'm not gonna ask for my 30% back. I'm gonna ask for everything. So you better lawyer up. I thought that was a great line.
Lawyer up, asshole. That's like, I want that as a poster. Like that's one of my favorite lines in the movie.
Lawyer up, asshole. That was a good one.
That's actually one of my favorite scenes, and I have a lot about that scene later on. But
what's the next point you want to hit?
That was actually another point where he just uses him he asks for more money and like stuff like that. And there's actually another part where Wardo gets the second invitation to the Phoenix Club, like that second note, and he goes to Mark's apartment. And you see how when he first comes in, Mark immediately starts asking for more money. Like, we need another 200 for this and this and this. And Wardo's like, yeah, man, like, just do it. And he's like, oh, I already did. And then he's just kind of doing his own thing, like not even really paying attention to Wardo. And it's so interesting because Wardo's looking at him like he admires Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just looking at him like this he's a genius. Like, this guy is really something. But Mark doesn't even like take a second look at Wardo. Like,
Right.
I never noticed that until this watch.
So Mark is kind of like starstruck. Mark is kind of starstruck by Sean Parker's character.
Yeah.
And we don't really see like, he seems like the smoothest guy ever, all the way up until the party scene.
Yeah.
When he finally faces some sort of adversity,
Mm-hmm.
he just crumbles. Like, when he's caught at that party with the drugs on him,
yeah,
he's done for at that point. You pretty much lose all like confidence in him.
Yeah.
At that point.
And it shows everything that Wardo was worried about him from the start.
Right.
Like, everything that he thought of Sean Parker, that at the end of the day he was just a phony and he's just a really good talker. Mm-hmm. And all this stuff. And they caught him bad. They caught him with underage, not mm-hmm. underage, but under 21 adults with cocaine and like.
And the fact that he was with an intern and stuff too, like.
Yeah. And he knew that, like, as soon as he called Mark, like, Mark knew it was gonna blow up the next day.
Yep. And Mark, from that point, you see Mark kind of like change his perspective on Sean a lot, because Sean goes, "Hey, I'll fix this when he's in jail. I'll fix this, I swear." And Mark goes, "No, I'll fix this." And then he like hangs up on him. Yeah. And that's like the shift of power. Like, everything that Mark thought he could trust him with, he realizes like, nah.
You see the immediate regret, mm-hmm. like, in his face. You want to talk about the twins, and you think that if they had a fair point, like,
okay, first of all, Armie Hammer did a great job at playing two different characters.
Yeah, that was when I first saw that, I was mad confused. I was like, wait, what the fuck? But I thought it was mad cool.
Yeah, he pulled a little Lindsay Lohan on us, Parent Trap.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I think they kind of did have a point, because Mark did, like, he kind of heard their idea and then like just made it his own. Like, he didn't take everything that they were thinking, because they wanted like, oh, we only want we only want it to be for Harvard, pretty much is what they were saying. Yeah. We only want Harvard EDU emails because of like the prestige of that. And Mark, even from like the beginning, was like, I just want everyone to enjoy this for free. Like, I don't even want like people to profit.
He doesn't care about it at all.
And kind of like every single like innovative idea isn't like completely out of random. Like, it's always like something that you see that you want to improve on. So like I think if I were the twins, I kind of would just take the L and just like not really press charges. But I do see why they would, because they thought that Mark was on their team, and then he like betrayed them. Like, he betrayed them like every single time for like 16 emails. He canceled every meeting. Wouldn't do anything for them.
It was like 42 days in a row.
Yeah.
And when they first met and stuff, I feel like Mark took offense to what they were saying, and they were like, "Oh, like, we need a programmer like you on our team. Like, we saw your face mash and all that stuff. Like, we thought it was really cool. Like, you got 22,000 hits in one night. Like, that's
and then
crazy.
They say, we want you to redeem yourself here.
Yeah, we want.
And I think that's when Mark was like, "Oh, I don't need to redeem myself. I can do my own thing."
Literally,
yeah. Like, I don't need to redeem myself. I did nothing wrong.
Yeah. No, I love his shrugs too. Like, when they're like, "Oh," when he said he created like some MP3 app or something in the summer, and like Microsoft wanted to buy it, and he was like, I didn't sell it for anything. Like, I just put it out there for free. And they're like, "Why?" And he's just like he does that like 2 or 3 times in the movie, but
later on when he's in the courtroom, and then he goes, "Oops," and the little shrug.
Dude, that oops scene is so good, because
I laughed out loud at that part.
He was like, because it was the whole chicken thing, where like the animal cruelty,
Oh, that
and
story was
then
hilarious.
yeah,
I watched one of those Watch Mojo videos after to like it was like what's real and what wasn't. And
oh yeah,
they said that that animal cruelty thing wasn't actually like true. Like it wasn't
mm,
part of the real story. But there was like some other like similar story with another student at Harvard at that time. So they just like kind of incorporated that in there because they thought it
mm.
would be like a good thing, another good part for the movie. But that actually wasn't part of like Facebook story. But yeah, that was hilarious.
No, that was mad funny. But yeah, he blows off the twins for 42 days, and then just drops Facebook. That scene where Divya is like watching that choir, and he sees his girlfriend like log on to Facebook, and he just kind of like gets her computer and brings it back to her, and then runs and trips on the the chairs and
The
everything.
whole choir stopped singing.
Yeah, like he made a huge scene.
Goes in. The twins are like rowing practice together.
Yeah,
They're like,
but I
just
like
give us
that
20
scene in
minutes.
the
Mark
yeah,
Zuckerberg just stole our website. Shit.
that that literally that from that scene on after when they called like their what did they they called like their dad or whatever because their
Yeah,
dads were
they're
like lawyers and stuff.
yeah.
Um, when they I had something written down. There was one quote from like when they were talking to his dad. I think it was Mark saying in the newspaper how like, oh, I made Facebook to rehabilitate my image after like Face Smash, and then the twins are like, that's a big finger to us, like, fuck you guys for saying that shit.
For real. Yeah, that was great.
But I like that part in the from that scene on. It goes back to the, like a little courtroom where it's like the twins lawsuit,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like complaining and everything, and Mark's just like going off on them saying like, is any of your code on Facebook? Like, do you see any of your code? Like, if you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you guys would have invented Facebook.
Yeah,
And then he just
that was a
shuts up.
great line.
Yeah, and they're just like, he's just like, I can't wait to look over your shoulder and see you write us a check. And he's like, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I know.
uh,
Yeah, they had like no comeback for that.
no, they really
It's like
didn't.
if you would have, if you actually were the founder of Facebook, you would have founded Facebook. Um, yeah, so I think my perspective was similar to when remember when they were like, oh, we can get him because if we go to Harvard, if we go to the people there, we can just say that they violated the rule book, and they go
Yeah,
in there and they're like, he stole our idea, and the guy's kind of like, what are you doing to me? Like, do you want some kind of special treatment because your dad's rich? Like,
yeah. Like, I don't know what you want me to do about it. Like, everyone invents stuff. Like, just invent something else.
yeah.
He's like, it's in the handbook. Like, he stole from us. And he's like, yeah, like we were running after Mark. He's like, you were running after him? And they're like, we just saw him in the court. And like, we were just walking towards him and he just ran away from us. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, whatever. But when Mark talks about Facebook in the Crimson newspaper, oh wait, I just said that. Never mind. um oh, do you remember that scene? I when I first watched the movie, I was wondering who Divya was talking about, but they were in the courtroom and they were talking about how Mark was kind of like blowing up on campus, how everyone was talking about him, and he was more famous than like 19 Nobel Prize winners, and like he was just naming a bunch of people that were like really famous, and even a movie star. And I was like, I wonder who that movie star is that he's talking about from Harvard. Turns out it's Natalie Portman.
Really?
Yeah, because she went to Harvard and graduated in 2003, and she had like the movie starts in like 2005, but she was still dating someone that was part of what club was he part of? It was the same club, the Porcellian, the same club that the Winklevoss twins were in.
Oh, okay.
So she had stories about everything that was going on with Facebook, and when she heard about this movie, she called up Aaron Sorkin and was like, "Oh, come have dinner at my house, and I'll tell you some stories about Harvard and Facebook."
Wow.
And he was like, "Oh, say less." Like,
That's crazy.
I know. 'Cause I was so curious. I was like, "Who is the movie star?" Because why would they do that wink?
Yeah, they mentioned it and then they never went back to it. And I was
Yeah.
like, damn.
Because then the lawyer was like, "Who's the movie star?" And Divya was like, "Does it matter?" But it's fucking Natalie Portman. Like, that's crazy.
That's so cool.
But yeah, conflict builds up a lot when between Eduardo and Mark when Eduardo wants to put ads on the site,
Hmm.
and he finds out about the cease and desist letter, and they start fighting about like why he never told them about the Winklevoss twins and all this stuff. And like that's when it first starts, but their first big confrontation is when after Mark goes to Palo Alto, like Silicon Valley, and when Eduardo goes there for the first time, Mark just forgets that he was supposed to pick him up at the airport. So
He
the
comes in
first scene,
soaking wet.
yeah, he's waiting out in the rain, and there's like underage girls like taking hits out of the bong and stuff. And when Mark sees him, he's like, "Oh, like what's good?" And just completely forgets that he had to go pick him up and stuff.
And he just sees like how infatuated Mark is with like everything going on, the fact that Sean's there, like everyone
Yeah,
there. It's probably
yeah,
just
the
like so
girls and
heartbreaking for him.
yeah.
Yeah, you feel for him in that moment for sure.
And it's like even the little things in their conversation when he brings like Mark aside, and Mark goes, "Oh, like how's your internship?" And he's like, "Mark, like what planet are you on? Like I dropped that internship the first day. Like I've been going around just trying to find like people to fund our like business."
Right.
And then he's like, "Oh, Sean's doing that for us." It's like, why is he doing that? Like he just starts getting really mad that he's kind of giving everything to Sean, even though Ward was the one that first funded it and
And it's
everything.
foreshadowing for when like they say how much how much how much of your 30%, like what was your 30% of the company cut to? And he goes 0.03%.
Yeah, because of
Damn.
the new shareholders. Whoa.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. When he shows up, he's in a suit and everything, gets an email from Mark saying like he has to come down to the office for the party and everything. And he's when he first gets there and he sees more contracts, like he even said before, like he didn't know he was going there to sign his death certificate. And I thought that
Mhm.
was an interesting, like I thought it was a cool line. And like when he sees Mark through the glass and starts like walking towards him, and Sean's like, "He's wired in right now." He's like, "What?" He's like, "He's wired in." "Oh, is he?" And he just smashes the computer.
Yes.
He's like, "You're still wired in."
And that was a good callback to when Sean first comes over. He goes, "Oh, he's wired in right now," and he goes, "I love that."
I
He's
love
like,
that.
"Yes,"
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he
When he
goes, "Oh, he's wired in right now." "Oh, really?" Boom.
no, yeah, that was good. I love that scene because he when they're talking about how he's saying like, "Oh, I'm basically not a part of Facebook,"
Hmm.
and like all this stuff. And then Sean's like, "You're not a part of Facebook." And then he's like, "We didn't like. Why do you think you're just walking around in like a suit, thinking that you're like the head of Facebook?" And he's like, "Sorry, my Prada's at the cleaners, like along with my hoodie and my fuck you flip flops." Like that was mad funny.
I'm CEO, bitch.
Dude, that card, yeah. Uh,
And
there's
Sean
so many
goes, "Oh, what's
little
that?"
good moments.
Nothing.
Just 2 boxes of cards. Uh, there's actually a Fight Club reference in this movie too.
Really?
Yeah, because David Fincher directed Fight Club. There's a
Hmm.
moment where Mark is like on Facebook. Uh, I think I'm not sure which scene it is, but they're discussing. It might have been after one of the courtroom things. He's just on the site, and it's like a wall, and it just shows like all these people doing stuff. It says Tyler Durden, and then whatever he's doing right now, and Tyler Durden's like Brad Pitt's character in
Wow,
Fight
that's
Club.
sick. That's
Yeah,
sick.
I was watching a video and it mentioned that, and I thought it was really cool.
Wow, I didn't catch on that.
Nah, I would not have caught that. I didn't catch that at all.
A little what do they call it? Easter egg?
Yeah, there's all
Yeah.
Aaron Sorkin's in the movie too.
Really?
When Wardo and Mark go to like this ad company, and Wardo was saying like in the courtroom, he was just saying like, "I wish Mark was asleep because it would have been better than what he was doing." and Mark was
Right.
just sitting there like clucking his tongue, not
Oh
even like
yeah,
paying
yeah, yeah.
attention to everything. That guy that we're talking to is Aaron Sorkin.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's just like those little things are really
Yeah.
cool.
Especially where like you don't have like when you hear that name, you don't have a face for him. So when you see him in the
Hmm.
movie, you don't. Yeah, like I
You don't
would
even
never have
recognize
known.
him. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
but
cool.
I love
Um.
that little scene right before they move to like Palo Alto and stuff, like the
Mhm.
welcome to Facebook scene where all the hackers are just like
Oh
trying to
yes.
hack drunk and they're taking shots every 3 minutes. And then Marlo goes like, "What is this for? Like they don't even have to do this." And he's like, "And I just wanted to get the best hackers. I don't know." And then everyone they're like, "Oh, like we got it." And then Mark's just looking around, he's like, "Welcome to Facebook," and everyone's like, "Ah!" Screaming. That
Yeah,
was really
that's.
cool.
Um. What do you think of the closing scene? Do you want to jump that far, or do you have a few another point you want to hit or two?
I do have a lot. I have actually one more point.
Okay.
It kind of goes back to the first scene, how like the ambience of that bar was really loud and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
As
just
soon as
like,
it started, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to put the subtitles on for this."
yeah. And it's the same thing with the club scene with Sean and like Mark. The
Hmm.
club is just going crazy, and like you're just trying to figure out what they're saying and stuff. It's just like scenes like that, or scenes where Mark is talking really fast. Just kind of it makes like Sorkin's like screenplay just shine. Cause
Hmm.
like he's pulling you in without making anything crazy. All he's doing is adding like a bunch of noises and making them talk a little faster. It's like overlapping dialogue.
Right.
And it's just kind of like why that screenplay shines. It's probably why it won the Oscar too.
It's great
But
screenplay.
but yeah, no, that last scene, he's talking to the lawyer's intern or something like that. The girl from The Office or Parks and Rec too.
Hmm.
Uh,
Rashida
and
Jones.
yeah, Rashida Jones, and she tells him, well, the first thing he says is like, "I'm not a bad guy," and then she just talks about everything and how he should settle for, or they're going to settle, like they're not going to bring you all the way and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I like when she says, in the grand scheme of things, this is a speeding ticket.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he's just gonna
It's not the
he's
end of the world. Like you have so much money. It's like,
and you're gonna keep making money for years
right.
to come.
Yeah. It's like
And I
this
like
means
when she
nothing. Just
says,
get it over with.
yeah, yeah, it's like just a waste of time to keep going back and forth.
Right.
But I like when she says, "You're not an asshole, Mark. You're just trying so hard to be one." And
Hmm.
when you look back at everything in the movie that he's done, he really had no reason to do it. He just kind of
Right.
did it so he can be different or like not try and be himself like the little dork or whatever that he is.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, he's kind of fragile because there's one scene that I feel like's a little overlooked right before he meets the Winklevoss twins. And it's when the girl passes notes to him and it just says "you dick," and you can see it in his face. He's just like it looks like he's like about to cry or something. He's just like he just leaves the classroom or whatever.
Right.
Like it's just like you never really see moments like that throughout any other time in the movie where he feels like he was beat
Right.
and all she
So,
said was "you dick."
well, in the opening scene, when the girl breaks up with him and she's about to leave, Erica, you see him like, wait, are you being serious right now? And
Yeah,
she's like, yes. And he's like, well, I was just joking. Like, he almost like, oh shit, like, I didn't realize I was
like
doing
relax,
this.
it's chill, the chill.
And then that was like one of the other moments where we first see like his vulnerable side because all the other times he almost tries to seem like he's robotic. Like even like the way he talks, his cadence is
Hmm.
like pretty robotic. Like he
Yeah,
has like very like he doesn't really pick up on social cues really, and like he's always like just like trying to act like he's the smartest one in the room. But
hmm,
like we see those moments of like vulnerability in him. I think there's only three. It starts with that part where you see his insecurity where like in the beginning, like how he said, like he brings up his, oh yeah, I actually did get nothing wrong on the SATs, by the way. As soon as she
hmm,
like brings up like, oh, I kind of like the guys that row crew, and then that's
yeah.
when he brings it up. The girl calls him a dick. You see it there, and then this is the point I was going to make about the last scene. In the last scene when he's just sitting there and he requested her again, that's where you see him like come back to like being a human, where
It's
he's like,
it's literally one of the most normal things you see Mark do throughout the whole movie
right,
because it's when he just dumbs it down, and he goes back to being vulnerable
And he
because he could just
just
not
wants this
accept him.
girl's acceptance again.
Yeah, like that's all he wants, and it's him just trying to find a way to be happy. And it's like this whole movie is like a redemption arc, like a tragic hero type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
where like you see right in the beginning just him rising to power, like throughout the whole movie, like it's like kind of the downfall between all of his friendships and all his relationships and everything. And we don't see him redeem himself, but we see that he's, at least in the very last scene, that he's trying to,
Mm-hmm.
when he sends that friend request, and he's just refreshing and refreshing and refreshing. Like, I thought that was really cool.
It's such a like a relatable moment too. But it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's like one of the only moments where you can be like, oh yeah, I've been there before, or like something like that along those lines, where you're like, oh, this
even the
seems like,
creator of Facebook
yeah,
waits for friend requests.
you
But
need to
yeah,
see him become a player in the game.
yeah. But Mark Zuckerberg actually said that, I don't know what article I read this from, but he said that 85% of the movie is accurate, and like the things that weren't accurate were like he had a girlfriend through all of Harvard, like Erica
Right.
never existed and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I never watched that. What was that video you said? Like the 10 things
It was
that.
like a Watch Mojo. It was like 10 things that they got right and 10 things that they got wrong, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
passed by it because I don't really like Watch Mojo, like
yeah,
how they present things.
no,
But
me either. But it was one of the first ones that came up, and I was like, okay, I should probably watch a little bit of this before I talk about it for an hour or so. So,
mhm.
but yeah,
I know Andrew Garfield kills it, bro.
yeah,
A
he
lot
was
of people
so good.
thought that
This
he was
is
snubbed for like supporting actor that year. I haven't watched any. I don't know if I watched any of the other movies that were nominated, but that just that one scene where he just freaks out on him, like it
mhm.
was so good. And
Yeah,
like just in the courtroom and stuff where he's saying like, I was your only friend, like you
yeah,
had one friend.
and then you see it in Mark's eyes. He's kind of like, yeah,
Fuck, like
yeah, like you really were my only friend. Now that I think about it, because everyone else was just kind of using me,
hmm
or I was using them, and I was just using you, and like
yeah,
you were the only one that really cared about me.
yeah.
Um, I was watching the Jeremy Johns one after, and he was like,
Oh, I don't think I watched his review. I should watch it.
it was super short. I think it was only like 3 minutes long, and he was like, and apparently this is going to be the next Spider-Man, and that's how he ended it.
Yeah, because I was like right before the first
Yeah,
Amazing Spider-Man.
which
Damn.
did not pan out how people expected.
No, yeah. Dude, Amazing Spider-Man 2 had huge potential.
Yeah, it did.
This shit. They just added too many
They kind of
villains.
blew it. Although if we're gonna switch gears here, the rumor that they bring back everyone into the next Spider-Verse, all the past Spider-Mans, and that would
Oh
be such a
my
sick idea,
god.
bro.
This is the Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Like that's when they think that there's just this theory that's going around that Sam Raimi, because he's the director of the Doctor Strange movie, is just gonna open a portal to bring up because
Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse.
yeah, because Spider-Verse just it was like amazing. Like everyone loved it. And so if they bring back like a live action like Spider-Verse type of deal,
Mm-hmm.
like it would be crazy to tie in all the Spider-Man reboots that we ever got. And it would make sense why
And we have
Steve
Miles in
Raimi.
it.
Yes. Oh my
And
god.
in Spider-Man Homecoming, the first one, with Tom Holland,
Mm.
we have the uncle character is played by Donald Glover, and he's also in
Yes, I
that.
remember that.
And
I
he
remember
goes
watching
and
a
he
video.
mentioned his nephew Miles
Yeah,
in the one with Tom Holland in it, and I was like,
yeah.
oh,
When
like
his
I remember I went back and watched it after I watched Spider-Verse, and I was like, whoa, like they have so much potential to do something here.
I know it was in that scene where his hand was just on the car, right? And he
Yeah,
just had the webs on the car. He was just stuck there.
yeah, he's
Oh
like, I
yeah,
gotta get home to my nephew Miles or something like that, or
yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
this for my nephew Miles, and I was like, oh, like this could be really special if they could do this. They could
No,
pull this
yeah.
off.
Damn, yeah. I haven't thought about that in a while.
I'm so excited for it. Although they said this is the first year a Marvel movie won't come out because they delayed Black Widow,
hmm
and in like I think they said like since 2009 or 10 or something like that. Like after like the first Iron Man or something, they like waited a year to make Iron Man 2. Um, so like because of the virus and stuff, like this is the first time that we're not going to have a Marvel movie in a calendar
Yeah, a lot of movies are getting delayed. I was really looking forward to A Quiet Place 2.
year.
Like that was gonna come out in like a month or two. It's
That
gonna
was
come out like around now.
A Quiet Place was a great movie.
Yeah, John Krasinski directed it. That was great.
So his character is dead in that one. So I don't know how they're gonna.
This movie is a lot of flashbacks. It's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
show how everything started.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And who is the actor
Sorry
that
for
is?
everyone who hasn't watched A Quiet Place, but spoiled it.
Oh damn.
But
Let me
yeah,
look
watch
at-
it.
there's a new actor that's gonna be in like the future, or like not the future, but where they're at now in the movie. It's Cillian Murphy.
Okay.
He was
He
in
plays Two-Face in The Dark Knight, right?
no, he played Scarecrow. Two
Okay,
Face
yeah,
was
yeah.
I'm not sure who Two Face was.
He's
Not
he's in a lot of what's his name? The director of The Dark Knight.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, he's in a lot of those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
I don't know how
well,
I
yeah.
blanked on that name.
Dude, did you I saw you posted it on your Instagram story. You want to talk about?
Dune?
Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna bring it up. Okay. I am so excited for this movie. It's got Timothy Chalamet, my favorite actor, or one of them, because I also love Leonardo DiCaprio, so they're like tied. And then also Zendaya, and I love Zendaya. She was so good in Euphoria.
Hmm.
These two together, I cannot wait. And it's a sci-fi movie. And
Yeah.
Jason Momoa was in it too, so that's gonna be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin.
Should
Dude,
be.
it's a reboot of a David Lynch movie. Back in like the 80s with
Have you ever watched it? I've never watched it.
the original, no. But I watched some of his movies. But
Hmm.
it actually had have you ever watched Twin Peaks?
No.
It has he always uses the same actor, Kyle. I don't even want to pronounce his last name. Like it's I'm not even gonna
Difficult.
try. It's just like Mac Lawlin. I'm
Okay.
not sure. But yeah, he was Timothy Chalamet's character back in the original.
Okay.
And he's excited to see what Timothy's gonna do. He
He's
said.
so
I saw
good.
in an article today.
So are they doing are they like doing a remake, or are they doing like a spin-off? Like how
I
does it
think
work? Do you
it's
know?
just I think it's just a reboot
Okay.
because he's playing the same character that the original played,
Hmm.
and I read the description of the original, and it's just kind of like it's basically like a war or something. I'm not really
Okay.
sure. I should
Yeah.
probably watch that movie. But I'm not really a big fan of David Lynch, even though he's kind of really well respected. I watched two of his movies already,
Hmm.
and it's like I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's for me.
Okay. So yeah, I've never seen any of his work, but
Mm.
they put Timmy on the screen. I'm gonna watch. So.
Zendaya,
um,
I love Zendaya.
Bro, Zendaya is so good, especially in Spider-Man and Euphoria. She plays a great MJ.
Yeah, she does. I loved her in Euphoria more than anything, though. That
Yeah,
was
that's so good. That was like almost like her moment where like do you remember the scene where she's outside the door banging on
oh my god, and she's screaming
she's
at
breaking down.
Mac Miller's double.
Yeah. Angus Cloud, I think his name is.
Yeah,
And yeah, she like she's so desperate in that moment for like drugs or
she's blaming him for everything,
yeah,
saying
that was
like,
such a
"This
good
is your
moment.
fault. Like you did this to me."
That was so good.
That made her look like a piece of shit, honestly.
Yeah, she was a mess at that point. Such a good series though.
I
They
know.
delayed season 2, which sucks.
Yeah, they just started too.
Hmm. I remember they were on Twitter. They were like posting pictures of like everyone together, and then like a week later, they're like, "We had a delay. We're
Yeah,
not making it." It was like, damn.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, any other points you want to make about the Social Network before we leave?
Uh, I don't think so. I just wanted to ask, what do you rate it like out of 10? If you wanted to like ratings or something.
I think I would say probably a 9 or 10, honestly, because it was pretty. I can't think of anything I didn't like about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a 9 or a 10 too.
And
like,
it's got replay value for sure. Like
first,
I would,
dude, today was like my third time watching in the past week. Like
so
the
good.
first time I watched that movie, it just left me in awe, just because I literally thought it was a movie about Facebook.
Yeah,
And it was everything but that. Like it
was
just
so good.
it was just so like packed with so many different like elements.
It could have been about anything, and it would have been just as good.
Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, so that was the first movie Monday. Do you want to decide what the next one is right now?
Do you have choices?
We could do Her, because that was one we were talking about earlier. We could do Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That's something we've both never seen before.
Yeah.
And do you have one that you're thinking of?
You never watched Grand Budapest?
No, I've never watched it.
I haven't. It's on my list. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. So do you want to choose one that we haven't watched yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do Grand Budapest then.
All right. Cool.
All right. So guys, do you know where that's available on? I'll look it up right now.
Oh, it might not be available on anything. We should probably stick to movies that are available on stuff.
Yeah. So.
Let me see.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, Vudu, Google Play, Amazon Prime, and iTunes.
Damn. No, yeah, it's not streaming or anything.
Not streaming. Yeah, we should probably pick something that's pretty accessible so that people can...
we could do... Her's on Netflix.
Do you want to do Her?
I'm cool with that, yeah.
You watched it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I've watched it like once or twice. I think I might have only watched it once, but I wanted to watch it a second time. Yeah, let's do that. We'll both rewatch it and we'll talk about it on Monday.
Sounds good.
Perfect. So guys, Her is on Netflix. So is The Social Network. Please watch them both. Both great movies. I can't wait to talk about Her. So yeah, I'll see you guys next Monday.
Leave a comment down below if you watch Social Network and leave your thoughts.
Leave your thoughts. Also, leave what movie you think we should do, and for future episodes, we'll look at them for sure. And we'll see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me. It really helps YouTube promote me. And if I get to 1,000 subscribers, that's when I can start making money, and that would be sick. So, kind of sound like an asshole saying that, but just 1,000.
Relax,
subs,
Mark. Relax.
It's not even a lot of money that they give you, but it would just be nice to be able to do that. So, yeah. You
could just fund this more. It would be better for this podcast and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Ooh, look at my diamonds, look at my drip, yeah. Ooh, I'm getting blessed, I feel like it's a dream, yeah. Ooh, yeah, I'm the man, yeah.